This is Words of Comfort to the World from the Word. Today's word of comfort is forgiveness. Many people, if not all of us at some time or another, have struggled with forgiveness when hurt deeply. The reasons are many. I do not believe a hierarchy of hurt exists. Some may disagree with my assessment. Everyone's situation is different and deeply personal. God tells us in His Word to forgive. Colossians chapter 3 verse 13 and Ephesians chapter 4 verse 32. Forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. And be ye kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. Forgiveness may require time depending on the situation. Many things or situations cause struggles with forgiveness. Slander, persecution, sabotage, torture, murder, rape, incest, theft, humiliation, kidnapping, abandonment, rejection, jealousy, inequality, gossip, slander, unfairness, lack of support, wars, malpractice deaths, jealousy, resentment, infidelity, and other situations. The relationship of Joseph and his brothers is described in Genesis chapter 37, verses 1 through 36, and Genesis chapter 39, verse 1 through chapter 45, verses 1 through 15, and its relatedness to forgiveness. All scripture references are from the King James Version of the Bible. Joseph brought an evil report to his father about his brothers. Scripture also mentions that Joseph was the well-favored son because he was the son of his old age. I wonder if it was also because he was one of the sons of his favored wife, Rachel, who died giving birth to their second son, Benjamin. Joseph's brothers saw that their father Jacob loved Joseph more than them. This caused them to hate and resent Joseph and not speak kindly to him. It did not help matters that Joseph shared his dreams with them about their grain stalks bowing down to his grain stalks. Another dream also occurred where the 11 stars and the sun and the moon bowed down to him. These dreams only increased their resentment of him. I would be remiss if I did not mention here that Joseph was only 17 years old at the time the dreams occurred. Perhaps it might have been better if Joseph had not shared his dreams. But at 17 years old, discretion was not something he considered. Jacob sent Joseph to his brothers in Shechem and instructed him to send word to him about his brothers. They saw him from afar off and conspired against him. Joseph was cast into a pit and stripped of his coat of many colors given to him by his father. Joseph's brothers sold him to Ishmaelites on their way to Egypt. His brothers dipped his coat of many colors in a young goat's blood that they killed. They took the bloody coat to their father Jacob, who thought an evil beast killed Joseph. Jacob wept and grieved for many days for his son. Joseph was sold into slavery in Egypt to Potiphar, captain of the guard for Pharaoh. The Lord blessed Joseph. He was a good person and well-favored. He was prosperous and made overseer of Potiphar's house. Potiphar's wife desired Joseph and asked him to have sex with her, but he refused her advances. She tried to force Joseph to have sex with her, but he ran, leaving his garment behind. She lied to her husband Potiphar. Potiphar imprisoned Joseph. God blessed Joseph in prison. He was given favor by the keeper of the prison. Joseph was also blessed by God to interpret dreams. He interpreted the dreams of the butler and the baker as well as Pharaoh. Pharaoh promoted Joseph to the second most powerful man in Egypt, second only to him. Joseph was put in charge of distributing food because there was a famine in the land. People from other lands, including Canaan, came to Egypt to buy food. Joseph's brothers came from the land of Canaan to buy food. He recognized them, but they did not recognize him. Joseph tested his brothers to see if they still harbored jealousy and resentment against him. Genesis chapter 42, verses 21 through 22 reveal their true hearts about how they felt about selling him into slavery. And they said one to another, "We are verily guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come upon us." And Reuben answered them, saying, "Spake I not unto you, saying, Do not sin against the child, and ye would not hear. Therefore, behold, also his blood is required." Jacob instructed his sons to return to Egypt to purchase more food. They explained Joseph's request to their father to bring Benjamin, their youngest brother, when they returned. Jacob reluctantly agreed to Joseph's request. Joseph continued to test the character of his brothers after they arrived again in Egypt. Joseph revealed himself to his brothers after Judah offered himself as a servant to Joseph instead of Benjamin. He told his brothers that he forgave them, not to be upset with themselves, and explained that God sent him to Egypt to preserve life. Lessons learned from Joseph's life. All children should be loved equally. Sometimes this is not the case, but it should be. We should trust God even when we do not understand God's actions and plans. God can turn tragedy into triumph. Unforgiveness helps no one because it keeps those unable to forgive in bondage, pain, and hurt. God blesses us amid traumatic and painful experiences. Joseph never said anything negative about his brothers. Forgiveness is as much for the victim of the hurt as the person or persons that caused the pain. Joseph submitted to God's will in his life. Perhaps God blessed Joseph because of his submissive spirit. Sometimes God's plan may take time. God's plan for Joseph took 13 years. Forgiveness does not mean we forget. It means we choose to move on with life and not hold on to the past. When we do this, we are happier, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Sometimes when individuals go through challenging situations, God may be preparing them for something greater. Maybe the lessons learned from Joseph's experiences apply to you. Will you be ready?